Hey guys, what is going on? And welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 108, and today we are returning with the special in-depth look at the save as we recap the 5th season of Career Mode, our first official season with Roma, where we'll go through the squad as a whole for one last time, what went on around the leagues in Europe, take a look at how Sheffield United got on without us in their first year without me in charge, and of course today we're going to be picking our England squad for the European Championships, which will be beginning in the next episode, and that will be coming out tomorrow afternoon. So, whilst we're on the subject, why don't we start with the European Championships to begin with today. As you can see, our group for Euro 2024 is Spain, Greece and Poland. Obviously, Spain, interestingly enough, we faced in the World Cup third place playoff 2 years ago and beat them to the bronze medal, if you will. Greece and Poland in our group as well. No disrespect to those two nations there, but I'd say the top two are probably how it's going to finish there. I think we should be fancying ourselves as front runners in that group. If not, then second place, but certainly getting out of the group. And the other groups are as follows. You've got Netherlands, France, Norway and Finland in Group A. In Group C, you've got Portugal, Austria, Turkey and Ireland. And in Group D, oh, that's a tough one, Belgium, Germany, Sweden and Wales. So unlike in real life, it's not quite as big, this competition. 16 teams, and yeah, we're in Group B with Spain, Greece and Poland. Of course, the biggest problem we have is that now that we are not managing in England, we cannot check the player statistics of the Premier League this year. So it's going to be tougher to make our selections based on form when we can't really see the records of who did what this year. Of course, Kane will be missing out of the Euro squad, there's no doubt about that. Who replaces him though? I mean, we've got Rashford, Abraham and Tony as free strikers. I don't think we need another striker, to be honest. If I was going to pick one, it would probably be Nketiah with 99 acceleration and 97 sprint speed. However, I'm not really sure we need one. We've got Sterling, Hudson-Odoi as our wingers. But I think another winger might be worth picking, to be honest. And Adamola Lookman, 85 overall. He can play up top. He played up top in our saving praise save back in FIFA 16. He's very, very quick, very agile, 95 agility. I think Lookman replacing Harry Kane, who is 4 years younger with a 4-star weak foot, is probably the selection I'm going to make there. So Nketiah, I think he'll miss out this time around, but maybe in the World Cup in 2 years' time if he qualifies. So Lookman for Kane, I think, is the change we'll make there. But I don't know what else to do, really, due to the lack of records we've got. See who did what this year. I really want to make our side younger as well. Michael Keane at 31 years old now, he's going to miss out, no doubt about that. But who's going to replace him? I wonder. Now, we could play Declan Rice as centre-back in this team. He can play there, as we know. He's 25 years old. He's 85 rated, so it would be a shame not to have Rice on the plane. So, yeah, I think Keane is going to miss out, and Declan Rice is going to come in. I only want 1 or 2 players over the age of 30 maximum. So, Nick Pope could possibly miss out for Angus Gunn. 4 years younger, Angus, and he's actually playing in the Serie A now, Gunn. So I might take a look at his stats this season and see how he did. For the time being, I'll put him into the squad. He is one rating lower, but as a third choice goalkeeper, he's probably not going to play anyway. We definitely do need another centre-back, though. Obviously, we've got Stones and Gomez, who will be our starting duo, and Rice would be our third choice. Now, we've actually got 3 left-backs in this team. Ben Chilwell, Ollie Shaw, and, of course, Ryan Sessegnon, who will probably play at left-back as opposed to left wing in this team. So that means we can probably afford to drop one of these 3 players. And I can't drop Ollie Shaw, of course, after a great campaign with Roma. He was, of course, amazing in that Coppa Italia final against Inter Milan. So Chilwell, I mean, I love Ben Chilwell. All of you guys know, especially you guys that watch my Who to Sign For save. You guys know I love Ben Chilwell so much, man. Such a fabulous young talent. But the oldest one of the 3, 85 rated. They're all the same rating, and we do need a new centre-back. And I do want Ben Godfrey there. He's got the leadership trait, as we know, 26 years old. And obviously, he's not actually the best centre-back out of them. Jack O'Connell, funnily enough, is 1 rating higher than Ben Godfrey. There's quite a lot of centre-backs that have got a higher rating than Godfrey. But as we know, Godfrey was amazing for us during our years with Sheffield United. Do we put him on the plane? He was there for the World Cup. We could have Tuanzebe, who's a rating higher. Oh, I don't know. But Godfrey was a bit of a fan's favourite. You guys really like Ben Godfrey, so I'm gonna say Godfrey or Tuanzebe. Godfrey or Tuanzebe. Not Keane, not Holding. Definitely not Harry Maguire. Godfrey, he's a fan's favourite. You guys love him. Put him on the plane. Our 4th choice centre half. We'd absolutely love to have Jayden Bogle as part of our England squad. Of course, he was amazing with us during our years at Sheffield United. But Wan-Bissaka and Alexander-Arnold are 2 of the very best right backs in the world at this point in the game right now. So neither of which can be dropped for this World Cup campaign. And as I look at the squad right now, I have to say I think we're probably done. I think this is probably going to be my squad for the World Cup here. Sorry, the Euro Championship. Sorry, I always get them mixed up. The Euro Championships in 2024. I don't feel the need to make any more changes to it. I really like this squad. I think it's very, very good. It's an incredibly youthful side as well. I think that there's only one player over the age of 30. In fact, I don't think anyone is over the age of 30 in this side. Who will be the oldest? Dele Alli at what, 28 years old now, I'd say? Yeah, 28 years old. I don't think anyone... Oh, Stones, maybe Stones. 29 years old. I don't think anyone is 30 or older in this team. Oh, Pickford, he's the oldest player at 30 years old. This is a very youthful England side. I like it a lot. I might make 1 or 2 changes, but for now, this is going to be our Euro 2024 team, and I like it a lot. So this is most likely going to be our England side then for the Euro Championships in 2024. 2 years ago, we played a 4-3-3 holding at the World Cup in Qatar, and that is the same formation and system I'll be operating with in these Euros here, because I like it a lot, and I think we play quite well with it too. We'll be starting with Pickford in goal, the oldest player in the squad at 30 years old. In the back four will be Joe Gomez and John Stones as our centre-back pairing even, with Ollie Shaw at left-back and Alexander-Arnold at right back. For the time being, Stones is holding the armband. Whether he has that in the Euros though, I'm not too sure. I don't know whether to make someone else captain or leave it at John Stones. I think Stones probably should wear it. He's not got a leadership trait though. But in fact, I don't think anyone has got the leadership trait in this first 11, do they? No, they don't. So, yeah, I think Stones probably will hold on to it. Our midfield trio, though, is going to be Winks sitting deeper, supporting Dele Alli and Phil Foden ahead of him. And our front three-pronged attack is going to be Raheem Sterling on the left, Jadon Sancho on the right, and Ivan Toney leading the line. 3 consecutive golden boots in major European leagues and over 100+ league goals scored in his past 3 seasons. I think he justifies a starting place at the England European Championships. So, on the bench we've got Henderson, Declan Rice, Wan-Bissaka, James Maddison, who had a great World Cup 2 years ago, Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Marcus Rashford. And our Rezzies are Angus Gunn, Ben Godfrey, Ryan Sessegnon, Ademola Lookman and also Tammy Abraham as well. I don't know whether Godfrey's going to make the plane though. He's made a provisional 23-man squad. I just don't know though. 81 overall, and obviously Sheffield United this season did not have a good campaign either, but he has got the leadership trait, which I quite like in the Rez. He's a dressing room leader, just 26 years old. He is a fan's favourite as well. I think he's going to make the cut. I think he'll still make it. But as for the squad number changes as well, of course, you guys always say, make sure the squad numbers are official heading into an international tournament. As you can see, they are numbered 1 to 23. Jordan wears number 1, Henderson 13, Gunn 22, Shaw number 3, Gomez number 6, Stones number 5, Godfrey number 12, Trent number 2, Wan-Bissaka 23, Rice 15, Sessegnon 19, Harry Winks 4, Phil Foden number 16, Dele Alli number 8, Mount 14, Maddison 18, Sancho number 7, Lookman 17, Hudson-Odoi 20, Raheem Sterling number 11, Ivan is going to wear number 10 at the Euros with Marcus Rashford taking number 9, and Tammy Abraham is number 21. Our England squad for the Euros picked, I've got to say I like it a lot, and my plan for the European Championships, my aim for the European Championships is going to be a final place. The FA have said quarter-finals. I think that is far too easy. All we got to do is get out the group to do that. My aim is a European Championship final, and I believe we've got what it takes. Come on, England. So now the England squad has been picked. We are going to take one final look at the Roma side after our debut year at the Stadio Olimpico. Of course, a recap for those that didn't watch Season 5, but you want to know how we got on in this area. It was an incredibly frustrating season where we only lost 1 game out of 38, and that was match day 2 right at the start of the season away against Bologna. But we still end up finishing in 4th place with 93 points on the board. Unbelievable. Juve's dominance continues. I thought we were going to dethrone them this season. Instead, we finished 8 points behind them in 4th as they had 101 points in the season. Inter in 2nd with 99, Milan 3rd with 97, and us 4th place, 25 points clear of Torino in 5th. But unfortunately, the problem for us this season, was draws. We drew 9 of our 38 games. That's almost one game in every 4 being a draw. That, simply put, is not going to cut it in this year's career mode, as the big teams rarely slip up, as we see, case in point on the screen right now. And only 60 goals scored as well. We were the 5th highest scorers this season. Even Torino scored more goals than us this year. That's not good enough. Next year, despite having the best defence this year, we'll need to score a lot more goals. So yeah, finishing 4th place this season, a very frustrating season. Torino and Lazio qualify for the Europa League for next year, and as the bottom 3, Spal, Benevento and Brescia are down to the Serie B. We did have a saving grace though, by winning the Coppa Italia, beating Inter Milan by 4-1 in the final. Last year Roma were thrashed by Juventus last year by 4-0. We got our revenge for Roma this season, dethroning them in the Coppa Italia on our way to winning it with a great game in the final where we really were on our game. But as for the Champions League, as we know, expected to reach the final of Champions League this year. Unfortunately, could only manage to run as a semi-final place even. It's Liverpool versus Bayern in the final. That's in a few days' time, but I can't advance that right now because we got the Euros coming and I need to pick my squad. But it's Liverpool versus Bayern, and I'll let you know who wins that at the start of next season. Knocked out in the semis though, not good enough. However, we did have some bad luck along the way this season and some serious injuries to quite a few of our players. None bigger, of course, than the injury to Orsolini towards the end of the campaign. And, of course, you saw in the Coppa Italia final this morning as well, his first game back from injury, he sprained his knee. And he's going to be out for 3 weeks. Unbelievable. We lost Mandragora towards the end of the season. Ferro went down towards the end of the season as well. So missed both of these boys towards the end of the campaign. In fact, all 3 of these boys towards the end of the campaign. And as we know, Sandro Tonali ruptured his ACL at the start of the season, so we missed him for pretty much the majority of the campaign. So we had 4 of our key first 11 members injured throughout the course of the season, particularly towards the end of the campaign, and that did not help us. We had some real bad luck there, but either way, no excuses. 4th place finish was still not good enough. And take a look at our final squad hub for the season. I'll run you through the team and discuss a few of the players in particular, including starting with Paulo Lopez this season, who was one of our best players. 32 clean sheets in 50 games in all competitions, won the Golden Glove in the Serie A. Paulo Lopez this season was absolutely phenomenal. I have to say I was quite disappointed by Ollie Shaw this season on the offensive end, if not on the defensive end. Although I will say in Ollie's defence this year, he did grow 2 ratings and got 24 clean sheets in 33 Serie A games. So defensively this year, he was very, very good. But unfortunately, when going forward, only 7 assists in 41 games in all competitions. That, quite frankly, is not good enough for a left-back of Shaw's quality. So I'd say this was probably his worst season since his debut year in professional football back in Season 1. I was quite disappointed by Shaw this season, but in his defence, we were playing with wingers and wide attacking midfielders this year for the first time since the save began. And one of the reasons why Shaw was able to get so many assists throughout the course of the series so far is because he's been like one of our only left-sided player that's on the wing, which means that he was both a winger and a fullback, whereas this year he was primarily just a fullback. So that kind of does defend Shaw a little bit. The change of formation did not help him going forward, but either way, it's still not good enough. 7 assists in 41 games in all competitions, so hopefully he'll pick it up next year and have a better campaign. Romagnoli, though, spent big on Romagnoli this year, and he definitely was one of the main reasons why we had such a great defensive campaign in the Serie A and were the best defensive team in Italy this year. 25 clean sheets in 37 Serie A games and 5 in 11 in Europe as well. Spent so much money to bring him back. Definitely worth the cash. He was amazing. As was his partner in crime, Ferro, who I would say was our 3rd best player this season until the injury towards the end of the campaign that really stopped us in our tracks. He got 20 clean sheets in 30 Serie A games, averaging a 7.3 rating for the season. This guy was absolutely sublime, and he barely put a foot wrong throughout the entire season. I've got to be honest here, we've used quite a few centre-backs in this year's FIFA. I'd say Ferro is one of my absolute favourites, and I've only played 1 season with him. I love him, and his injury really hampered us towards the end of the campaign. He was sublime this year. You can see Calabria had 22 clean sheets in 39 games this season. I thought he was quite a sort of an unsung hero as part of our Roma team. As part of our back 4, he was the one we didn't really get to talk about much. He only got the 1 assist all season long, but he was very, very composed at the back. and very decent indeed. As for Sandro Tonali, though, real briefly on this, only 12 games for the season, because as we know, 7 games into the campaign, he'd had that red-hot start. I think it was 3 assists already to begin the season. Then he ruptured his ACL and was done for the majority of the campaign. That was absolutely gutting, because he was off to such an amazing start for us this year since signing from Watford, but unfortunately that injury was a big blow for such a young talent. Only 24 years old though, the leadership trait, the flair trait, and I'm pretty sure he's going to bounce back from that. If we can keep him fit next season and he can play the whole season long, I'm pretty sure he's going to have an amazing campaign for us. What we saw in limited minutes before the injury from Sandro was really good. Next season, if he stays fit, I think he's going to light the Serie A up. Diaz was one of those squad players, and we all have these sort of players on our side where they don't start that many games, but they pretty much always come off the bench and always perform. In limited minutes, Diaz this season was absolutely fantastic. 2 goals and 2 assists in 11 Champions League games, most of which coming from the bench. 3 goals and 3 assists in 22 Serie A games, again, most of them coming from the bench. He was the perfect impact sub for us this season, and with a 99 acceleration and 99 sprint speed, the fastest player in the game. I've got no plans to sell this guy next year, and might give him some more minutes next season too. He was absolutely brilliant this year when coming off the bench. And also Gedson Fernandes, want to talk about him real briefly as well. Obviously he came in on transfer deadline day to replace Marc Roja. The big reason why we signed him to replace the Spaniard was because I knew he'd score more goals than Roja. Roja didn't score a single goal all season long, but in just half a season, Fernandes scored 3 goals for us. 1 in the Champions League, that crucial goal away at Stamford Bridge, and 2 in the Serie A in 13 games. Gedson Fernandes sits back in this team, but he also goes forward as well. And when he does go forward, he shows his full arsenal of talents. He is a really good player, and I want to get him involved in the play next season a lot more as well and going forward. But as for Orlando Mandragora, he is the player that always sits deep, but despite doing that, he still managed to pick up 7 assists in 30 Serie A games this year. Orlando was one of our unsung heroes this year, always put in a good shift, and an absolute bargain when we signed him from Udinese for just £19 million. One of my favourite players this year, Mandragora, does the dirty work as a deep line playmaker, but also gets a few assists along the way as well. Really good player. Brignola did not play much for us this season, but when he did play, I really liked what I saw from him. 6 assists in 15 games in all competitions, and 5 in 6 in the Serie A as well. When this guy was on the pitch, he was picking out players left, right and centre, and you guys know I'm a sucker for those team players to get the assist. Brignola this year, oh, I absolutely loved him. 5 assists in 6 Serie A games, that is absolutely fantastic for a player that had very limited game time this year. And as for Šorić, 10 assists in 27 in all competitions and 3 goals as well. I liked what I saw from Šorić in limited minutes, and we were planning on selling him at the start of the season, but when he was on the pitch, he put in some really good performances. So Šorić, like Diaz, is probably going to stay next season despite now being in his mid to late 20s. And as for Nicolo Zaniolo, the captain this season, I got to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed by Zaniolo, but I will be honest here, most of the play this year came through the middle of the park or the left-hand side. So the right-hand side with Calabria and Zaniolo does explain why they didn't get involved in too many goals for us this season. But either way, still did chip in with 9 goals in 53 games and 7 assists as well, and 5 in 38 in the Serie A, and of course those 2 big ones in the Coppa Nazionale final. That was his best performance of the season, that, as the captain led us to silverware after a man of the match display at the Stadio Olimpico. So slightly disappointed by Zaniolo, but either way, still a good campaign for the new captain of Roma. But this man this year, I mean, I mentioned it in the Coppa Nazionale final. I hate to make excuses, but I do believe that if this guy did not break his toe towards the end of the campaign, we would have reached the Champions League final and we would have finished in the top 2 in the Serie A. If not the champions, then in the top 2. This guy this year was absolutely sublime and our second best player of the season behind the shocker. 11 assists in 24 Serie A games, one of the top assist makers in the Serie A, and he only played 2/3 of the season. He was absolutely fantastic this year in the Serie A, got 6 goals as well, and had it not been for his injury again, I think we would have won at least one more trophy to add to our Coppa Italia. Riccardo going down blew our season up, and that was absolutely gutting. Keeping him fit is the key to us getting more silverware next year. He was our second best player of the season this year. Riccardo was absolutely phenomenal, and I'll say this as well, at one point we'll be leaving Roma, and when that happens, Riccardo is coming with me. I love him. But there's no denying who the best player of the season was this year. For a 3rd season running in career mode, Ivan Toney scored 30 or more goals in a European top flight competition and won his 3rd consecutive Golden Golden Boot. 30 goals in 37 Serie A games, chipping in with 6 assists as well, and 6 goals in 9 in the Champions League too. Ivan the Shocker Toney, once again as reliable as ever, and if it wasn't for his goals, we wouldn't even finish in 4th. He scored half of our Serie A goals this season. 50% of our Serie A goals were scored by Ivan. Absolutely amazing campaign once again from our number 9, and this is a bold claim to make as well. For those that have been watching my career modes for a long time, you'll know we've had some absolutely extraordinary strikers all throughout the course of the saves we've done. I would say Ivan Toney, oh, this is a bold claim. I would say Ivan Toney is my purest goal scorer ever. I don't think there's a striker I've had before in a FIFA career mode who has been this lethal in front of goals and had the goal to game ratio Ivan had. I've had some amazing strikers in years gone by. The player he reminds me of most is Mbaye Niang, but I think Ivan Toney is my best goal scorer ever. Now that is one hell of a bold claim, but I think the stats back it up. Another amazing season, and if we are to win the Serie A next year and reach the Champions League final, we'll need our number 9 once again to have another incredible season and possibly his 4th straight Golden Boot. But as for Moise Kean this year, I'll be honest, he was one of the most disappointing players of the campaign. Obviously playing as an inside forward on the left hand side, that's not really his role, but it's the only way I could fit him into the starting 11. But next season I'm probably going to play 2 up top, and that means Kean will probably start alongside Ivan Toney. 9 goals in 39 nil competitions, not the best to be honest. 7 in 30 in the Serie A, not the best, but again as an inside forward, that's the one thing I will say in Moise Kean's defence. That's not his position, that's not his role. He's an out and out striker, and on the left hand side was a little bit isolated, so I think we can forgive Moise for a lack of goals this season due to playing him out of position. But as for Pinamonti, he was one of my favourite players this year. This guy was so reliable as a backup striker. 16 goals in 32 games in all competitions. He was the absolutely brilliant replacement for Ivan Toney when he was either injured or too fatigued to play, averaging a goal every 2 games. What a backup striker, and the nickname for him is primed and ready, because he always was. Every time he was on the pitch, capitalising on getting a start or coming off the bench, he'd always find the back of the net. Pinamonti this year was amazing, and next year definitely deserves more game time. The Golden Boot winner in the Coppa Nazionale, and the reason why we won silverware this year in the Cup. He was fantastic. But despite winning the Coppa Italia, it is still going to be regarded as a failure in our first season at the Stadio Olimpico, hitting just one of our 3 on-the-pitch objectives. That's why our manager rating has dropped down to a 75. We failed our youth objective because we didn't care about it at all. We did hit our brand exposure objective because I don't think anyone's ever failed that in history of career mode, gaining those earnings from shirt sales. I've never seen someone fail that before. We failed our European objective though, knocked out in the semi-finals of the Champions League when the board expected us to reach the final, and of course in this Serie A, finishing in 4th place. That was a catastrophic failure according to the board, although the saving grace of course was winning the Coppa Nazionale, and we hit both our financial objectives, which were a critical priority, increasing our club worth by 15% within 2 seasons. We did that in the first half of our first season, and despite all the signings we made, we still reduced the player wages by over £90,000 a week as we totally changed the wage structure at Roma. That was a key objective for me, and I'm glad we hit that in the first transfer window despite spending all that money as well. And so we're going to end today's special in-depth look at the save off by going through our academy players right now. Or I must be honest here, it's not that great. Esposito's potential has now dropped to 78 to 88, although he probably will be asking for a pro deal. So I imagine this guy is going to get a pro deal before the start of the new season, as is Ferrari. In fact, I might do that today. Why not? Let's end the episode off with promoting 2 of our youth players here, Esposito and Ferrari, both 18 years old, both 60 plus overalls, so we can see how good they are. But only the 4 youth players in our academy this year, and I've got to be honest here, it's not looking great, is it? A far cry from the days of Sheffield United where our academy was full to the brim of great youth players. These 4, not the best, but they still could be alright in the future. We'll see how they look in just a moment's time. And we'll end today's episode off as well by taking a look at the other leagues around the European competitions as well, starting with the Premier League, where we're going to find out how Sheffield United got on this season in their first year without me. Man City crowned champions once again, winning undefeated, 108 points on the board, with Liverpool finishing runners-up with 103 points. Everton and Manchester United wrapped at the top 3, with Chelsea, Spurs and Arsenal going to the Europa League. But as for the Blades, 12th, 50 points, only 14 wins in 38 games. How have they had such a struggling first season? We left them with such an amazing young side. Why has it been so bad? I don't know, but 12th place this season, that is incredibly frustrating, and that means next year they'll not be in a European competition after being knocked out of the quarterfinals in the Europa League by Valencia. That's tough for the Blades, that. What a shame. The Championship won by Aston Villa, and Fulham are also going to the Premier League, with Huddersfield finishing in 3rd, Bristol City in 4th, Cardiff in 5th and Norwich in 6th, as those 4 will play in the playoffs. So if Huddersfield get promoted again, those 3 teams are just like yo-yo teams. They're always going up and going down after a season. It's extraordinary. But this is how the Championship ended up looking this season. Oh, for fuck's sake. 1 win in 46 games? Bloody hell. As for League One, QPR won that this year with Barnsley in 2nd. And these are the teams that finish in the bottom 3 in League One this year. And as for League 2, Forest Green Rovers, champions of the 4th tier of English football this year. Where did Bury get? Where did Bury finish up? Oh, Bury, rock bottom of League 2. And the bottom of the Football League come the end of the 5th season. Funny enough, that's the first time they've been bottom of the Football League since the save began. Obviously, Bury, as we know, they've got fake players in the game. And this year, rock bottom of the Football League. Ligue 1 was won by Paris Saint-Germain. Shock horror, winning it undefeated with 36 wins in 38 games. 110 points on the board. Monaco, Lyon and Marseille wrapping up the top 4. The Bundesliga was won by Bayern Munich. A whopping 16 points clear of Schalke in 2nd, as Dortmund and Leverkusen wrapped up the top 4 in the Bundesliga this year. The Dutch League was won by Ajax once again, 1 point ahead of PSV, who also finished undefeated. Imagine having a whole season undefeated, yet missing out on the title by a point. Heartbreak for PSV, as Ajax win the title in the Netherlands. The Portuguese League was won by Benfica, as Sporting finished runners-up this year, with Porto finishing, wow, 14 points behind Benfica in 3rd place this season. The Scottish Premier League was won by Celtic once again, winning 32 of their 33 games this season, and Rangers finished in 3rd this year, with Hearts the closest team to Celtic, 13 points behind. I don't think Celtic have lost the Scottish Premier League since the save began yet. And La Liga was won by Real Madrid, 1 point clear of their rivals Barcelona, and winning it undefeated as well, as Atletico and Valencia wrapped up the top 4 in La Liga this season. I will do one more, the Turkish Super League, and that was won by Besiktas this year. 2 points clear of Fenerbahce. Oh wow, Fenerbahce and PSV, brothers in arms, both finishing in 2nd place despite finishing the season undefeated. Heartbreak for those boys. And so I think that is that. We have picked our European Championship squad. We have showed what's going on around leagues. We have done our final run through the squad. I'll quickly show you the top assist, clean sheets, and clean sheet and top scorer charts in the Serie A this season as well. And I'll do it in the Champions League and the Europa League for you guys too, so you can see who did what this year in Europe as well. And is there anything I'm missing? I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. Oh, those youth players. I haven't shown you those youth players yet. I'll get to that in a moment. And, as well, I need to show you who won the Europa League this year. As in fact, no, it wouldn't have been played yet, would it? It wouldn't have been played yet. So, yeah, you guys have to wait until the new season for that, of course, because we haven't currently got to that stage yet. But, yeah, the Europa League, the Champions League and the clean sheets. What on earth am I talking about? The Europa League, the Champions League and the Serie A, top of scorers, assist and clean sheets charts are on the screen for you now. And yeah, let's show you the Europa League then. Who's going to be in the final? We can at least check who's the final of the Europa League this year. Where are we? Europa League. Europa League. Here we are, Europa League. Come on, load. There we go. Valencia versus... Oh, Inter Milan. Valencia versus Inter Milan, as Inter go for their first piece of silverware this season, finishing runners-up in the Serie A this campaign. And as we know, Valencia knocked out Sheffield United in the quarterfinals by 3-2. Heartbreak at Bramall Lane, as they failed to reach the the final 4 as they tried to win that. How did he get on in the Super Cup, by the way? I never checked that. Ah, that's a shame. Lost to Man City by 3-0. So no silverware for the Blades without me this year. And what else am I missing again? Oh yeah, the youth players this year. So that was Ferrari, and was it Esposito, the players? Let's take a look at my squad right now and see what their potential is for the new year. Where is Ferrari? There he is. Ferrari shows great potential. 61 overall. Right mid, left mid listed positions. And he's got high-low work rates with a 4-star weak foot and 3-star skill moves. Yeah, not exactly exciting, but he could be alright. And as for Esposito, well, that's a bit disappointing. Shows great potential. He's lean. He's very lean, isn't he, this lad? As he shows great potential. Left wing only listed position, 5'7", and 3-star with medium low. That is quite disappointing, I've got to be honest here. Our youth players not exactly looking exciting. I mean, they look okay, But yeah, nothing too exciting. But I think that's going to end today's episode of the special in-depth look at the save, guys. I can't think of anything else I need to show you guys, so we shall leave it there. Again, the European Championships are going to be starting in the very next episode. And for those of you that aren't interested in the international stuff, then don't worry, because the new season is going to be starting on Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. UK time, regardless of how we get on in the European Championship. So set your timer, set your alarm, put a note in your diary. Tuesday afternoon, 4 p.m. UK time. The new season with Roma will be beginning at that time. And as for the European Championships, I'll have a special England thumbnail tomorrow. So if we get through the group stages and get to knockout stages, both of the episodes will be out tomorrow, and it'll be a special England thumbnail, so you won't miss it if you're only interested in Roma stuff. But if you are going to watch it, hopefully you guys enjoy it. It should be good, and I'm targeting a place in the finals for the European Championship. So thank you for watching this special in-depth look at the save, and I hope you've enjoyed the whole of Season 5 as well, guys. It was quite a tough year in charge of Roma, but I'm hoping for a better Season 2 and a much better second season at the Stadio Olimpico. And of course, don't forget, I'll be starting on Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. UK time. So thanks for watching Season 5, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode coming out tomorrow afternoon, the start and the group stages of Euro 2024 with England.